Hi everybody and welcome to Hex Token channel, first live stream. Woohoo! Nice. Now I'm your host, Superman, and I run a couple of crypto YouTube channels, probably about 10 actually. And so hopefully you guys enjoy some of the content that I've been getting on the old Hex. Of course, I am a Hex OG, just like many of you out there, so it is a passion of mine, and I hope you can hear that through my videos for sure. And get into the chat, folks, say hello, and of course, welcome. Obviously, channel memberships are open as well, so hit the join button. We've got PulseChain, Hexkins, and the Richard Hart Club. I've already got some people already joined up to the membership, so welcome to them. I think first was SKB. I know that SKB's been in the house. Have enjoyed a lot of the comments, of course, and responded to all of them. And of course, it's very exciting. I mean, Hex, PulseChain, and PulseSwap. It's going to be a truly epic moving forward. I think we're all going to have a blast on the journey there. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Let's get into the folks. Let's get into the chat and have a look at the price chart at the moment. Here we are on hex.com. You know how I like to roll. Let's go. And of course, here we are on the price. This price is looking gorgeous at the moment. Of course, we're still not quite out of the woods. There's a small probability of a bearish flag, but I think the chances are that we're going to break up given the time frame. We're going to check that all out, of course, on the PulseChain timeline that I've been covering every day on the daily updates. So daily updates are always going to be there. They're going to be the bread and butter of this channel, but we'll definitely be doing lots of live streams as well because so much is going to be happening right up to Christmas time, pass through the New Year's and into early 2022. 2022 is a game changer for Hex, and I think that you guys can see all the fundamental factors. The fundamentals are huge. A lot of the barriers are declining into the future, especially around staking. And of course, it's going to be pretty epic with all the billionaires and big funds coming into the space for 2022. Far less big stakes playing out, and of course, the PulseSwap sacrifice is huge fundamental. So it's going to be pretty good. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, of course. Heading towards 1,500 subscribers, so a big shout out there to all the Hex Token members. And man, oh man, you guys absolutely amazed me with the price poll. Over 500 votes in that price poll. Was expecting maybe 30, 40, and over 500. So that was really awesome, and that gives a lot of good opinion to people out there what people think the price is going to be by the end of the year. So pretty fun there for sure. So get into the chat, folks. Looking good. We got Runeski's in the house. So let me just set myself up a bit better here, and let's get into the top here. So we've got welcome first live show, of course, very cool, and we've got Runeski's in the house. Hey, good to see you, Runeski's, or Rune Skies, I should say. You have to excuse the old Kiwi accent. And of course, Albert's in the house. G'day from Thailand. Oh, beautiful Thailand. I've watched a lot of videos lately of Thailand. Man, oh man, it looks like a place to be, that's for sure. And SKB in the house. Hey, the first Hex Token member. So big shout out to SKB in there. G'day from Australia. Actually, SKB, you may not have been aware, but I did post a comment in the community tab about you being the first member of the Hex Token channel. So welcome. You've got your cool little icon there as well. And of course, you've got special emojis and stuff you can paste as well there, SKB. So get up there. New things in the house. Finally, show up face says new thing. Hey, good new thing. I love all your comments, man. And hopefully I've responded to them in good kind there as well. So welcome to new thing. Okay, so like I say, we are on the trifecta to heaven with Hex, PulseChain, and PulseSwap. It is truly going to be outstanding. We're going to talk about some of the X returns in this video. Of course, nothing in this video is investment advice, just infotainment. I just pass on the info in an entertainment way, and hopefully that's helpful. The updates, of course, I always try to be accurate and up to date, and also give you the front-running stuff, all the insights that I've gleaned from the the environment that we're in. And of course, leading by Richard Hart, who's doing an amazing job there. So pretty awesome. We've got Alexandro V. G'day from Germany. Hey, welcome and great to see you. I've always wanted to go to Germany someday. Hopefully I'll get there at some stage. So big shout out. Robert Hernandez is in the house. Hello from Miami, Florida, USA. Woohoo! Now I have been to Florida and I have been to Miami once. I think did I get to Miami? I may have got close to Miami, but not quite at Miami. I've definitely been to Tampa, Florida. I've definitely been to NASA in Florida, and that was super duper good. And we've got Mike. G'day from Hello Earth. Hey, good to see you, Mike, in the house. Hey, so welcome everybody. It really is a pleasure to have you all here, and I hope that you've enjoyed the content. I try to keep factual, straight to the point. I like to hit hard hitting, straight to what's happening. And there's plenty of entertainment stuff out there in the Hex PulseChain world. And so I just try to deliver it in a shortcut way. Here we are, though. We're going to look at the price and look at this chart. This is the hourly chart. Man, oh man, oh man. So we're going to look at the Hex price chart, of course. We're also going to, obviously in the future, not too far, we're going to have PulseSwap, or whatever that's going to be called, price chart. We're also going to have a Pulse price chart. It really is going to be fun. And all the trading pairs, PRC20s. Obviously, we'll talk about ERC20s as well, NFTs as well. It's probably something we don't talk so much about, but that's going to be pretty cool. And of course, there are innovative products coming into the space like Pulse loans and stuff like that. So that's going to be something interesting. I personally just back Richard Hart's projects. That's what I'm mainly focused on. I think that he is a genius in the space and a pioneer, and I definitely think he knows what he's talking about. So that's where I like to place my bets. But there are going to be other opportunities coming into the fray, and that's just the way it's going to be. But this chart today, this is the hourly chart at the moment. Look at it, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And we're on a nice tier at the moment. Let's pull out the old ruler here. We are down about 14, 15 cents. And we are already up in 8 hours, up 18.5%. So nice, and it's good to see a nice reprieve. We are on a nice little uptrend on the short term. Let's pull out the old daily chart and check that out. And we will be looking at the PulseChain timeline and PulseSwap timeline, talking about that as well. So definitely something to stay on board. SKB says, hey, rocket up and to the right, my friend, says SKB, absolutely. And Ruski says, haha, yeah, brother, Hex on the weekly looks amazing. Previously, weekly was a dodgy, current one looks going green. It's going to be amazing, absolutely will be. And Roberts has got the clap hands and the rockets in the house. A says, what should some do with their PUSD? Probably hodl it. A lot of people are going to try and swap into Pulse as well. So for some people who are late to the Pulse, who didn't get a PulseSwap sacrifice, PulseSwap does offer another opportunity. One of the strategies, of course, is to sacrifice for PulseSwap and then buy that into Pulse. Some people will be doing that. Some people see that PulseSwap itself will be a bigger X upside than Pulse itself in the short term, but in the medium long term, Pulse will play out better. And so there's different strategies. Everyone has to place a bet and take their judgment call in that. But one strategy is to sacrifice in PulseSwap and then switch that over for Pulse when Pulse mainnet goes live, which is probably going to be, as we'll check out on the timeline shortly. Probably maybe mid-January at this stage. Now, I do have about the 7th. That is the midpoint between the range that Richard's given us, but I think it probably will end up being at least mid-January at this stage. So some people are already still calling February, so I don't know about that. At this stage, we seem to be on time with the PulseChain testnet 2.0. So I'm a bit earlier now than I was later. Obviously, if time gets pushed back, as we have seen since July, August the 3rd, since we finished the official sacrifice period, it's been moved back and back. We can see that in the chart. So pretty cool. New Thing says, yes, he is a genius. He absolutely is their New Thing. Hi, buddy, friend from Canada. Hey, Canada, eh? Canada, eh? Hey, good to see you, Tom. I have been to Canada, been to Toronto, and I've been to Vancouver just through the airport though. But Toronto was pretty cool. The CNN Tower, I think it was called at the time. I'm not sure what it's called now. But that was a pretty cool place. I also went to Niagara Falls there, Tom. And of course, the Niagara Falls, what's the second biggest falls in the world outside of Africa, I think. So pretty amazing. That was certainly, I think that's where Superman was in the old movie, of course, which is my moniker is Superman. So very cool. SKB says good vibes, nice one. And Ruski says, my bad, I meant dodgy candle. That's okay. And Mike says, I bet lots of people put limit orders at 10 cents and missed it big. Hey, that's a really good point, Mike. So we'll pull it up because I'm going to put back the defend line here. So this is from the weekly prediction video that I do, and a lot of my stuff is based on fundamentals. I do look at the TA as a support, but the fundamentals is really what drives the Hex in particular in PulseChain, because that's the way Richard drives it. Richard, a lot of people talk about the fundamentals, but if you think about what Richard actually says, he's all about the circulating supply. And of course, even though we have a big total supply, it's really about that circulating supply. And first of all, we had PulseChain sacrifice eat up lots of that circulating supply. And then we had, now we've got the PulseSwap coming up, also going to likely eat up quite a bit of Hex supply as well. Now, I know a lot of people hold on to the Hex and they don't want to give it up, so there's going to be a bit of a tussle this time, a little bit harder. But I think for a lot of new people, a lot of people that missed the PulseChain Sacrifice, then the PulseSwap offers them some opportunities, either just to go for the big X's on the PulseSwap, which could potentially be 10x. This has been conservative 10x, and of course it could be much higher than that, as 100x or so, and that's based on other stuff, so SushiSwap, PancakeSwap, and places like that. So examples like that. So, but Richard's going to, we do not know the tokenomics yet of those, and of course Richard's going to give us the tokenomics of the PulseSwap. Hopefully we'll get details about that with the yield farming incentive, but also, and the token inflationary, deflationary aspects to it, and also of course the actual sacrifice game theory. So is it going to look similar to a PulseChain sacrifice or not? So those are the two things we're waiting to hear from Richard. Richard did post tweet today, as I put into daily vid, about the fact that he was going to give us a heads up around the gamification before the end of the year, and that the sacrifice for PulseSwap would launch before the end of the year. So that's why people, as the time gets closer and closer, we're going to look at that on the timeline shortly. But that's going to put more fundamental pressure on the Hex price, because obviously Hex price is the flagship project. Obviously PulseChain is going to be a system state copy of Ethereum, so there's going to be a lot of other projects on there. TrustSwap is just one easy one to name, but it's pretty exciting. So we're going to get lots of this. So much to talk about. We're going to get into a lot of that for sure. Let me get into the chat here just to keep up to date with that. Doji, my brain is done from working all day, says Runes, guys. That's okay. Yakia says, how big you think Pulse will be? I think it's going to be huge. I think PulseChain is going to take the market by storm. I still think that you should at least hodl it for a year if you have any example of Hex or any example of the other chains that are the first layer one chains. But PulseChain is going to be different from everything else because it's going to be a first system state copy of Ethereum. That's a game changer, super fast, super cheap. It's also going to link with the automatic market maker. Is going to game change the liquidity pools and lock them up and make Pulse stronger. It really is a master play by Richard. So that's going to be incredible across all the pools there. Now, not every token's going to be firing off, of course, but a lot of the lead ones will be. So it's definitely, you want to place your bets in the right, in the most probable winners, is the way I'd put it. Cool. Jason Armstrong says, Montreal in the house. Hey, good to see you, Jason. Montreal. Yeah, I think that's the French part of Canada, right? So I definitely would like to go there sometime too. Now, obviously, Canada has a lot of beautiful buildings as well as nature, a very beautiful nature place as well. So I do have, I guess I have kind of some cousins there, they're kind of cousins, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but I think they might be. Hexon says, g'day, Hex Token. Hey, Hexon. Hey, good to see you in the chat, and it's a pleasure as always. Hope you guys are having a great time out there. And man, I hope you guys bought some. I have been indicating the bottom. If you watched a couple of days ago, I said I thought the bottom was in. Now, we still have probably, what might say, a 10% chance of a bearish flag, but to play out to 10 cents. But I think that's a very 1 in 10 likelihood. I think the 9 out of 10 is the chances that we're on up from here. And the key fundamental, of course, is the PulseSwap coming up. Every day we tick past, it just squeezes that opportunity. So very cool. Ace in the house says, to swap some EHEX over to PulseChain on a launch, would you have to bridge EHEX over to PulseChain first, then and swap it to PulseChain? Yeah, so there's going to be a bridge, but we don't know exactly, or at least I'm not aware in the code. I did try and watch the bridge stuff the other day. Now, I think Ruth, the developer of that, did a full live stream on Maddie Allen's show. If you haven't seen that, it's well worth checking out. I did put that in the link in one of the video descriptions I did. So we just don't know what the tokens are going to be on that yet. Obviously, there'll be some stable coins, Hex, and that sort of stuff. So Hex, I imagine, will be on that. Yeah, we'll look forward to that. That's what you can do. So Albert Fisher says, very excited about PulseChain. I am super excited. I think that it's actually better than I originally thought. Like, originally thought it was fantastic. Now I think it's like amazingly fantastic. I think that the opportunity, and I think the way that Rich is linking the liquidity pools, and that's probably a key thing with the automatic market maker. We know about 6% or something like that of the total pulse is going to be used to filter through those liquidity pools and disenfranchise the original owners of that, with the 1 million to 1 ratio. So it's going to take away the power from people to be able to pull the liquidity, and I think that's a master play by Richard. And of course, it strengthens the Pulse token itself. It really is fantastic. Julian's in the house. Hey, 44444 day here. What's up? Hey, nice there, Julian. 444. That's a bit different. I like people who think differently. So nice one there, Julian, for sure. All right, so here we are. This is the defend line. Now I call this the defend line. This is back to that 10 cents. So let me just scroll back up here. We had someone that said, let me get back up here. We had someone that said 10 cents earlier. I just can't remember who now. Trying to find that comment there. But here was the defend line. So quite a few people were saying around in the forums and stuff that, you know, if it hits 10 cents, I'm going to buy. I'm going to put limit orders, that sort of stuff in and get it. And of course, it didn't quite make it there. And that's about here. I had it down here as well. The defend line. That means a lot of people were, hey, I thought that's good value. I'm going to pick it up there. Right. And of course, it hasn't hit there yet. Now we have, like I said, I think we have a 10% chance, 1 in 10. Of getting a bearish flag down to 10 cents. So I think that's less likely. It's not to say that it's not impossible. It is 1 in 10 after all. And from my point of view, it's a very subjective calculation. But I think that we're on the breakout. And the reason why is because we have potentially this sacrifice period. And I've got it at the 27th at the moment. Now, Richard said it's going to be before the end of the year. So even if that date is wrong, with only a couple of days after that as the 31st. So 27th is what I had just after you know, Boxing Day there. So that's my estimate at the moment. And of course, after that, we probably have a big ramp up in price because it's going to smash up against that wall there. And then of course, I expect to have a pullback. Now I've made the pullback quite shallow here. It possibly could be a bit bigger than this. And it really depends on the PulseChain mainnet going live. And of course, if this is I've got it on the 7th at the moment, but if this is you know, later 13th to the 15th, the middle of January, then that gives it a bigger chance to have a little bit of a pullback before we rise up to the, you know, tackle our all-time high again. So very cool. That was in the weekly prediction, and so far it's holding up pretty well at the moment. And obviously we broke this little downward resistance here. We've broke through that today, so that's actually super positive in the orange there. And of course, we've got the pink short-term bullish breakout. That's been holding us down in the downtrend, of course. And of course, we break that and it's all golden. And I have it that we need to pretty much get it over, you know, 18.5 cents, get over to about 19, 8.5 to 19, and that will push us even higher, So we'll be watching that pretty closely. At the moment, we're looking really good, 17.78 cents. We're not far away. And of course, we can see how we can have all these green candles in a row, you know, 7 or 8 day green candles in a row, and we could get that too. We're only on day 3, it may be even day 4 here, so we could see quite a few candles. We'll have some red days, no doubt, just as a little bit of a little bit of consolidation there, but I think we're heading up, back up here, especially once we break this downward resistance that's kept us down. And of course, we started really moving down from the 19th September. That's when we started selling down. A couple OGs were selling us down. Some of them completely emptied their wallets, so at least the known ones that they have. And of course, they decided, I'm going to take my profits now, and that's it. That's done. But this is what happens when you go through these price cycles. You lose some of the OGs, and then some of the hex that they have gets distributed amongst new investors, and that's just the way it goes. And that way you get the sort of a tree effect. We get more branches of people, and it actually gets distributed more evenly. And remember, the circulating supply is relatively low anyway, because a lot of the stuff's held by the Origin account or Origin wallet. So it really is, you've just got to hold through the long term through those things. And of course, if you're staked in Hex, you are earning some beautiful T-shares. As people early unstake get penalties, they try to sell down and other things like that. So obviously the people that are going to keep staking through are going to enjoy the future. And I think 2022, you know, it looks like multiple dollars for Hex. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see that play out. Now, to do that, you need more economic energy, and what we're doing is we're seeing that come in. We're seeing the Kiyosakis and the billionaires of the world tipping their toes in, as it were. They've been interested. We've got Funding Jim is talking to at least 3 or 4 billionaires, he said in a recent live stream on Discord, and of course that opens up new doors as well. So you've got all those billionaires. That's the big economic energy that's going to get us into the dollars, the tens of dollars for Hex. And of course, the other side, if that's the demand side, of course, we've got Hex Scale coming up as well. That looks like it's going to launch towards the end of this month. And of course, Kinetics was on a live stream, I think it was yesterday or today, can't remember now. And of course, he is heading up that with Wales Only and a few other people there as well. I think even Cabana Crypto is involved in that. And of course, they're launching that private trust, and that could potentially raise millions and millions of dollars as well. They do have a $1 billion distribution network, and many of the fund managers, I understand it, or financial managers actually control the decisions. So that looks very optimistic for Hex. Now, he did mention in a live stream discussion with Richard Hart that he had in London, I think it was about the 2nd of December, that they wanted to keep the price down. They like the liquidity. They like this stuff. So if we go back to the 2nd, back here we were, what was about the 2nd here? We were around about 18 cents as well. Though they were happy that price. They wanted the price to stay down. They wanted liquidity because that way when they get all the investors coming in through the whatever the Hex scale, whatever the name's going to be called at the time, is that they want to be able to get the lower price. They're going to stake that for 5,505 days. They're going to stake out long, keep that share rate, preserve that share rate with millions of dollars. That itself would push the price up even with limit orders. And that's another form of big money coming in. So I think it's pretty optimistic. So we've got lots of demand coming in. We've obviously got the retail investors are growing, and they will continue to grow through PulseChain. But on the supply side, we've got only 2 big stake candles left. The 17th of December, and of course the 1st of January. And then of course we have the remaining stuff that's sitting in circulating supply. And of course that is it. And then of course, so they've only got 3 options. You either sell it, or you hold it for your copy on PulseChain, or you restake short, medium term, and long. And I say this often in videos, daily videos, is that's the options, of course. And I think they're going to get more distributed over time, more investors, bigger investors, and of course spread out more over time as well, the stakes. So you can see supply starts to really dry up, and you can quickly start eating up whatever's in the the DEXes on Uniswap. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, so looking good there. Julian says, thanks for the shout out. Just subscribe. Hey, Julian, appreciate that, and welcome to the family for sure. And Ruska says 17.9 cents. I know, looks amazing. And RuneSky says, yeah, 17.9. We're not stopping here. Yeah, that's right. So like I say, a real positive is if we can get over the 18.5 cents and hit a solid 19. That is a very bullish sign. You can see that we're just about up to that resistance line here. As well. So that's we've been suppressed by that, staying under it the whole time. And of course, if we go back even further, was about the 13th. So after the 3rd of July is when we finished the sacrifice. So we had a bit of a rise and then a dip. And of course, then we had the expectation of the PulseChain launching sooner, but of course Richard kept deferring it as software is difficult. And so we had this big rise up, and then we pretty much consolidated up here. Then we had some people got unnerved, thought, oh, well, PulseChain's not coming out for a little while. So some of the ex-OGs with some of the big wallets decided to sell down, take their millions and sell down. That's what we saw here. And of course, once we got into this downturn, the market, other people jump on, and before you know it, you're down all the way down here, where we ended up about, 12 cents around that time. So that's pretty much that. But now we're back on the rise. We have these big walls with the PulseSwap launch and price pressure going there. So pretty cool. Let's get rid of those indicators, and let's have a look at some of the CCI. So the commodity index is looking pretty cool. Let's full screen that, and you can see we've got nice positive commodities index, and of course it's in positive territory over 0, and it's only got plenty of room to climb up here. You can see it's actually been as high as 460, which is pretty massive. So anything over 0 is very positive. And of course, here we are, a straight line up. So that's looking good on the commodity index. Let's have a look at the MACD, the moving average. And we can see that we've got a positive buy signal. Over the yellow is the signal line, and we've got a positive buy here, and plus we've got positive on the volume stats as well. So the MACD is looking positive, just the beginning, but looking positive. I was going to say one more thing about the MACD, is obviously we're still under 0, so still got plenty of room to move up. If we go past that 0, that's super bullish. So we've got tons of room to move here, and so we'll watch that as well next few days. The RSI, let's have a quick look at that. Obviously, RSI is looking very positive, and we're over 50 now, so that's even more confirmation. So plenty of room to move up on the RSI. And as you can see, we've actually been up as high as 93. So that's looking really good. Just started getting into positive territory, so plenty of room to move up on the RSI. And of course, that's, I guess you could argue that's a bit of a bullish divergence there as well. You got the lower low, then a higher low on there, and then positive up there. So bullish divergence and looking good. And the EFI, this is looking positive as well, over 0. So just started going over 0, and of course been as high up as 56,000. So that's positive as well. So this is these are the volume metrics, these ones here, and so the volume oscillator is still got room to move as well. And of course our DMI, which we all love, we always love the DMI. The buy side, the blue one here, looks like it will cross over. And of course we've seen what happens when we get a nice positive here. Looks pretty good actually. I might just pull that up there. And you can see the last time we were having a price rise up here, you can see the blue line is above the orange line, the seller's line. And so it looks like the buyer's line is about to cross the seller's line, and that's looking positive too. So the chart's looking pretty good on the daily as well. So looking good there. And here we are with the price. Now we've got a 100-day, 200-day rolling average is sitting at 21 cents. So we'll look to see whether we can hit that too. That's pretty bullish. So what are we looking at? 18, 19 cents. And then, of course, we want to get up over this 28. Once we're over 28 cents, it's up and away, folks. Really is nothing to hold us back there. And of course, this was where when we did our channel poll with over 500 people, which a huge shout out to all of you filling that out. Because 500 people is a really good sample size for people to get people's expectations. So it was really cool. I was super excited about that. And yeah, once we get past here, this is where we're up. I think we were up to 20 to 30 cents, and we had about can't remember exactly, maybe about 33% of people thought it was going to be in that category, and then about 28% I think it was in the next one. Could be wrong about that. Maybe it's 13% in the next one. Yeah, 30 above 30 cents. So that would be up and away here. So nice on these charts here. So yeah, we can get to 19 cents, man. That's super bullish. And if we can just move sideways a little bit, that'd be pretty cool. And then onwards and upwards from there. I like it. Sounds pretty good. Sandy Beach Traders in house. Hey, Hex Token, great live stream. Hey, Sandy, I do appreciate it. Love your name too, Sandy Beach Trader. That's a pretty cool name. And I do love the beach myself, surfing and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And Simon Ball says, "G'day from across the ditch. Love your work, mate." Hey, Simon, I do appreciate it. And Aussie, 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 oi, 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 Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Aussie, oi, Aussie, oi, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. That's for you guys out in Australia. Big shout out. And Rune Skies is in the house. Yeah, so professional. And no, a dead air legend. Hey, Rune Skies, do appreciate that. That's super. Sorry, super thing. Sometimes I forget to click on the comments. I'm reading it, but I forgot to click on the comments. So I do apologize. That Julian says I would love to see $7. Yeah, so a lot of people are calling for $7. I know that I think it's can't exactly say the name, but Kapuchka, they're doing the 555 tour. They keep talking about the $7 for next year. I definitely think we're in multiple dollars. I have said on this previous predictions about $1.80 and $3.20, and I still think that's strongly in play. That's just for the beginning of 2022, and you know, and so. I think that's a super bullish. Obviously, we're going to have Hex is going to be split in two, so the sum, I expect the sum of the parts to be greater than the whole when we started. So whatever that price will be, I do think we'll get some volatility and never lose some volatility, but then game on after that. So pretty cool. We have a lot of big investors in the play on PulseChain compared to how Hex started. Hex, and so that's something very important. PulseChain, obviously, community size is also bigger, and of course covers all the projects on Ethereum theoretically. So and there's a lot of excitement on around the space on all the social media platforms around PulseChain. So super exciting. A lot of people, of course, love yield farming, and that's huge too. And you know, think about Kronos. Obviously, QuickSwap, where it all started, QuickSwap, and all the other chains, Atrium, and you know, all of those things. And I think soon it's going to be, you know, just on so many of the chains with the yield farming has been booming on all those different blockchains. And I saw that PulseChain is going to be the mother of all yield farming. It's going to be the biggest yield farming opportunity in crypto history, as well as the biggest airdrop in history. Both of those together, and hey, that's signature Richard Hart, right? That's signature Richard Hart. If you're going to do something big, do it the biggest. And that's how Richard rolls. So pretty cool. Harvey says we're going to be rich. I think so too, Harvey, absolutely. And Sandy says thanks. Hey, you're welcome, most welcome. Sandy also says Hex line and a bit. Yep. And Mr. Dolo says we can do a $10 Hex by the end of next year. Yes, I have. What's the sort of the highest price that I thought was reasonable was definitely up around $15 by the end of next year. Maybe 15. That seemed about right. But I'm actually doing a video on the 2022, so I don't want to talk too much about that at this stage. That's for sure. Fish on Saturn says we are the luckiest people in crypto to be here right now. I absolutely agree with you, Fishing. That we are super lucky. I don't know. I just have to sit back sometimes and think, you know, because I'm a commentator on this area, but it's just blows my mind how big this opportunity is. and it's going to take a lot of people by off guard as well. So if you're here, you are an OG. You're going to be so happy about being in early, and I think even people that aren't early, people that are in later, are going to find huge economic opportunities, financial opportunities on PulseChain and PulseSwap. It's going to be pretty exciting. SKB's in the house, so first Hex Token channel member, SKB says, I don't think ETH or crypto in general understands how PulseChain is going to change everything. It's going to blow everyone's minds. PulseSwap Sacrifice phase should be launched before the end of the year. Absolutely. And I quoted RH just now, so that's straight off the press, folks, from Richard Hart there. I don't think ETH or crypto in general understands how PulseChain is going to change everything. It's going to blow everyone's minds. PulseSwap Sacrifice phase should be launched before the end of the year. Woohoo! So that's looking super good. And he's made that comment at least 3 or 4 times now. So we get really confidence around that sacrifice phase starting up before the end of the year. So it's pretty cool. And nice one there, SKB. Hey, for the first member of the channel, SKB, you're doing some pretty awesome contributions there. Do appreciate that. All right, so let's have a quick look at the moment. Look at this price. Woohoo! 17.84 cents. I'm loving it. I don't know about you. And that's looking super duper good for sure. Let's have a look at the Hex, the PulseChain timeline and PulseSwap timeline, and of course this has it all on it. And here's the little plane. Remember, if you remember my daily vids, I drew the plane the other day, and look at the plane is definitely flying. I really need to animate this because we're flying all the way up to here, and here we go, folks. We are flying. That plane is going. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I love it. I love the plane. You got to have the vision, right? The vision is the plane. And looking exciting. So definitely get over that 18 cents. So can we get to 19? And that's going to give us strong confidence for the next move up and to tackle that, pretty much that 28 cent mark there over here. So that's what we want to tackle there as well. And also we want to break that downtrend, as I said in the previous one. I'll just pull the picture up there. We want to break this downtrend here, and we're not far away. Look how close we are. We are so close, so close. And like all I say is we get 19 cents and we're pretty much on it. Stay over it at that point, and we're away. We're away. I mean, it's getting inevitable now anyway because we're moving down towards the angle. So it's going to be pretty cool. And if we can get over this line of support as well, and we get into the sweet spot right here, that would be really, really good. All right, so at the moment, this is where we're at the moment. We've got a PulseChain testnet 2.0 is in play. That's really cool. Now, I did do a video on how to do staking with the validators. So do check that. There's now 6 validators on there. There was 3 when I did the video. There's now 6 on there. So other people have set up the validators. Obviously, they have to do that. They have to contact the team and get 500,000 in T-Pulse. So TPLS or Test Pulse. It's just play Pulse, not real Pulse. They have to get that from the developers and then stake that, or then I think they have to stake it or stake it. I think that's what they do. And then of course they can become a validator, and people that can then stake their test pulse with them. So I staked 1 on that video. I staked 1 test pulse there that I got from the faucet, and I think it's I'm not even sure if it's been earning, but I might check that tomorrow, see whether it's actually been earning anything on there for sure. But if you haven't done that, go do it. I've got a video on that. Go check that out. It is pretty cool. All right, so here we are. We're in PulseChain testnet. This yellow bar here. I expect that to run for a fair amount of time. And then, of course, we have the sacrifice. I'm expecting that at the moment before the end of the year. We've had 3 or 4 comments by Richard about that, confirming that. I'm saying around maybe the 27th. We'll see how accurate I am on that. In any case, it will be a couple of days. This vertical blue line is the end of the year, so it has to be between this red arrow and the end of the year anyway, if it's going to hit that end of the year line. And of course, how long is it going to run? And I think it's going to be a lot shorter than the 19 days that we had back at PulseChain Sacrifice here. And I think it's going to, but also is the tokenomics going to be different? Because if you remember the first 5 days, we had 10,000 points for $1 US, and then of course it, the price went up by a factor of 1.05 per day. And of course, I think only a couple of days ago, under the Mercy Sacrifice period, 10,000 points was costing you well in excess of $1,000 US, and you were getting something like, I don't know, 8 or 9 points, something like that per dollar, I think it was. So not cool compared to 10,000. So that's why people have pretty much been saying don't sacrifice anymore in a Mercy Sacrifice. And why would you do that when you got PulseSwap coming up? That's kind of a defective way of getting Pulse if that's your end goal, whatever your goal is. If your end goal is getting PulseSwap, or whatever the final name is called, then that's what you should do too. is really important. But yeah, super cool. So we've got the Pulse test sacrifice is on time, and this is on time now. So it's great to be back on track. And obviously we'll get a nice Pulse swap sacrifice on time. And then of course we've got the timeline here. This is based on Richard's previous comments. So everything that I base in here is based on Richard's comments. That's how I formulate these timelines. And of course, the midpoint was going to be about the 6th or 7th of January. But I have a feeling that given the sacrifice, depending on how long that lasts, and of course the PulseChain testnet, that we could end up being at the end of this timeline frame. So 13th to 15th of January, somewhere in there is where I think we'll possibly end up. That's the soonest that I think we could have it. Some people are, still quite skeptical about timeline, so I think maybe February, something like that. So this is probably as early as it possibly could be in this range here, this sort of place here. At the moment, I'm still keeping this because PulseChain testnet seems to be running pretty well so far, and of course, only if they found any particular bugs with any new enhancements that the team have put in there would be the case, because remember, it's going to be proof of stake, so pretty cool. All right, so that's looking good. That is the timeline. That's what we've got ahead of us. And of course, if we come back to the price chart, and the price just almost at 18 cents, we hit 18 cents. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! 18 cents. All right, cheers everybody. 18 cents, we'll take that. Nice. We're not far away from hitting that confirmation. So cheers, everybody. You've got to celebrate while you can. Such a nice green weekly candle, says Mr. Dolo. Absolutely. And Murky says, Richard Hart just tweeted about PulseSwap. Yeah, I think our SKB just gave us that tweet. And Marco Marcelo says, good job. Actually, we'll pull up Richard Hart's Twitter, and we'll pull it up. Might as well show it on live stream while we're here. Let's go. I think SKB did post us in the chat the latest tweet from Richard, but we will check it out in any case. Here it is here, so very cool. 11 minutes ago. I don't think Ethereum or cryptocurrency in general understands how PulseChain.com is going to change everything, and that's what we've just been talking about. Isn't it funny? We were just talking about that before this tweet, and of course we were saying how amazing, how mind-blowing you think this is. And one of the big keys is the fact that the automatic market maker is going to fund through those pools. It's going to prevent pretty much liquidity being pulled by anybody that inherits that through the airdrop. And of course, it's going to, going to have about 5 or 6%, something like that, of the total pulse supply just fund through those pools, and it's going to be super good as well. And of course, for everybody that's getting the airdrop, you're going to be able to participate in those pools with half your stuff free. So amazing. And potentially the whole lot free. So if you've already sacrificed for PulseChain, and you've also got the airdrop from ERC20s together, you bring that together, it's basically free, and then you're earning the fees and potentially PulseSwap with the LP tokens as well on top of that. So it's just a win-win-win-win-win. It's just to slap yourself in the mirror, throw some water on your face, because it really is pretty cool. I don't think Ethereum or cryptocurrency in general understands how crypto.com is going to change everything. Obviously, it's also going to be fundamentally different. It's going to be super cheap and super fast. So pretty cool on that too. It's going to blow everyone's minds. PulseSwap Sacrifice phase should be launched before the end of the year, which is just fantastic confirmation there. I always like to go to his tweets and replies as well. And sometimes he has a few extra comments in here. People have responded to him. Not in this case, but this is pretty cool too. And I'm not sure what this one here, time of the year, should have been a photographer, something like that. So Richard has lots of cool little responses to people as well. So it's definitely worth checking that out. But here we are, folks. We are smashing the 18 cents. Looking cool. Let's go to the hourly, actually. Let's go pump that back to the hourly. And let's get off the markers there. So looking good. Look at that. Woohoo! So at this stage, you would think there's going to be a little bit of a red candle at some stage, right? You see these run-ups here. Another run-up, you think at least about now, but maybe not. And maybe we might be able to make it to this magical line, get it 8.5 to 19 cents, and then just hold there, consolidate, maybe do a bit of this consolidating, maybe not quite as wide as this, but just consolidate over here once we get up there, and that'd be pretty cool. All right, nice. Let's go. Julian says go, and fishing on Saturn says woo, 18 cents, absolutely. And Merky's in the house says the bonding curve already puts Pulse at 14, 15 cents. Incredibly, really. Wait until the airdrop and everything. I know it is quite mind-blowing for sure, and it's going to be interesting to see what Pulse actually ends up to. I actually think, well, you got to wait to the Pulse price. So I'm somewhat, I'm looking at maybe half a cent is where I'm looking at this stage. I think that might be on the first day. We'll see how it goes. Vast.tech says, Vast.tech, not sure what that one is there, Corona, I should say. Tom Hall says, be nice if we can get over previous structure. Bullish, yahoo! Yeah, absolutely there, Tom. And it looks like we're getting there. We're getting there for sure. Let's go back to the, let's just do the weekly. I don't know if this particular pool has the longest period. No, it doesn't. So we'll get away from the weekly on that and go back to the daily. That works perfectly fine. I've changed my scale around too much. That's what's happening there. Let's put on back on the lines there, and there we go. Man, we are so close to getting into this Goldilocks spot here. That is really good. And yeah, if we can move sideways for maybe a half a day or something, and then start moving up again. But yeah, we're getting closer and closer. Let's have a look at the time frame here with the ruler, of course. And of course, here we are. We've got that line wasn't very straight that I did. We've got 12 days from there. Let me just straighten that line up. We've got 12 days to go until my timeline, which is the 27th. Even if let's say that it's right at the last day. So 28th, was it 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. So even if it's the last day of the year, the 31st, that is 16 days. But I tend to think that it's possibly going to be earlier, and that Richard's already had, since the 2nd, he's already had, about 10 days to work out the PulseSwap gamification. Even if he only spent a couple of days on it, he would have possibly worked it out already, maybe finalizing some of the final parameters. Now, what's he going to, now the PulseSwap, obviously, not that many of the yield, the DEXes have, or the yield farming rewards have a raise up front and then one later on. So not that many have that structure. So it's going to be interesting to see what magic Richard has in the gamification there. I'm just trying to pull up, let me have a look here. I think Uniswap obviously had one. Initial launch was 26 cents. That ended up going to all-time high of $44.97. That was 173x, folks. 173x on that. SushiSwap was launch price, had a launch price which is different from an ICO price. They had a launch price of $3.65, and of course that had all-time high of $23.35 based on my last measure. So that was just like a 6x. Obviously, Ethereum was way back. Obviously, there's more around PulseChain rather than PulseSwap, but 30 cents, and of course, had a high of 4,848. So that's like 16,000x. So that's pretty huge. PancakeSwap had an LP launch at the launch price of 31 cents, and of course they got it $44. That was 141x on that. So, and a 31x on the close to reasonable price. So that's some pretty huge stuff there. Just on those couple of examples. I've also got another spreadsheet here looking at stuff with an average of 11x from launch to all-time high for the last, say half a dozen DEXes that have been launched. So that's where I get the 10x to 100x from, is from those examples. Pretty cool. Tom Hall says, like and subscribe, everyone. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It really does help with the algorithms. Hit the like button, of course, and yeah, hit the bell as well for future videos. Obviously, going to be doing lots of content on here over the next few months and well beyond. This channel is not going anywhere. And Jimmy says, not going to the moon, going to Uranus, says Jimmy. Absolutely, I agree with that. And I appreciate the sense of humor as well. So very, very cool. Almost 18.2 cents. We are getting there, folks, live. This is awesome, and I couldn't resist. I was going to start live streaming tomorrow, but then I saw this price chart, and I couldn't resist getting on to celebrate with all you fellas out there and fellas as well. And so that was pretty cool, especially as we're coming up to this junction here. This is a major breakthrough. And as I said, we've got this big wall. It's really the fundamentals that's more important for me because we're going to smash up against this wall. And of course, that's how we're going to get pushed back up here. Now, obviously, how many Hex OGs out there don't see the big picture and just want to, get their big bags? I think that there's probably less of those. I think a lot of the ones that would have sold. There's always Hex OGs out there that will sell, though. This is the way it's going to be. They're going to pull the trigger at different times. But of course, if they do sell, they won't get a copy on the PulseChain. So from that point of view, it's not the best optimal strategy. It might still be a rational one in the sense that they getting out with good values, but it's still not the the optimal strategy that they can have, which is get a copy on PulseChain, participate in PulseSwap, and enjoy the ride in the next couple of years, because that's how awesome it is. And we just saw from the big boss man, Richard Hart himself. He's saying himself I don't think Ethereum or cryptocurrency in general understands how PulseChain.com is going to change everything. It's going to blow up everyone's. It's going to blow everyone's minds. And of course, PulseSwap Sacrifice phase should be launched before the end of the year. And of course, that's 90 minutes ago. So it's funny that we're just talking about that. The price is starting to boom, and a lot of the big money's not even coming on the table yet. That's why we're talking about dollars. If you think we're, being a bit too front of running ourselves, as I said at the beginning, we've got all these billionaires starting to get attracted to Hex, and this is not just by marketing. This is by people talking, people creating relationships, people opening opportunities within the community. And Funding Jim is talking to billionaires. They got and there's other Hexkins that are with him doing that. There is Kinetics, his team is looking at doing a hex scale, which is like a Bitcoin scale thing where they're doing private raise. First of all, they reach their private targets. Those could be many millions of dollars, potentially tens of millions of dollars, and then of course moving that once they reach those targets to publicly traded entity, something like on NASDAQ or something like that, and then people can invest their IRA funds and stuff like that in there, and of course big institutions can start moving into stuff because it's all custodial run. So these things are custodial run, and basically the way they're going to do that is by getting the funds up. They get into the trust then goes and buys Hex on the market, and potentially Pulse and Pulse as well as possibly on the line there too. There'll probably be separate trusts for that. But in the first instance, Hex, and of course buying that and then staking that for the maximum period, getting the best share rate now because the share rate's only going up and to the right. And of course, they lock those in, and then they just the way they trade that, then people can enter and exit those trusts is just by issuing shares in that trust value. And of course, if they get in cheap now, this is why I talked about in today's video that they want to get in early and cheap. And Richard, that was on an interview with Kinetics and Richard Hart, which came out today. That was excellent, by the way. Do go and watch that. I did post that in today's daily vid. If you want to find the link, it's in there to the interview. And of course, that's the way it goes. So what you'll find is that when I do the daily vids as well, anything that I reference in terms of something, I try to put the source link into there so that you guys can go straight to it. Because obviously a lot of you guys busy, you work and this and that. So it's just a quick way of providing you those insights that you may have missed it. So yeah, very exciting stuff with that Kinetics. And he's talking about he wants to get it cheap. And I said this in a live stream, not in a live stream, in a previous video about the fact that I said, I bet you they want to get it in now. They want to get out now because the price is so good. You're at the bottom of a cycle and you want to catch it, you want to ride it back up. And of course, that creates so much more value in your trust, and your investors are smiling or so much more if you get in obviously lower. And of course, the fund goes up over time. And of course, obviously, buying that many millions also going to lift the price of Hex anyway, because it's the supply and demand, right? So very cool. We've obviously got things other big investors out there like Three Arrows, Overwatch. You've got those people out there. You've got the Kiyosakis and the potential billionaires are there as well, and many other players out there looking to get in. So it's 2022 looks absolutely amazing from my point of view. And of course, having PulseChain, the biggest airdrop, and of having PulseSwap, the biggest yield farming opportunity, it is a mind-blowing. And it's if you were back at on the Hex AA lobby on day one, you would have been excited about that. It was super exciting. The AA lobby on day one, it was really a lot of fun. And of course, this is blowing that out of the water if you think about the scale of this now compared to 2 years ago. It really is. So the Hex launched on the 2nd of December 2019, and that was amazing. And now everybody that's here now gets a chance to get into Richard Hart's 2 latest projects, which particularly PulseChain is arguably a lot bigger in terms of scale, and PulseSwap too. If you think about the yield farm across all the peers, it's going to be pretty amazing. And you're here again at the right place at the right time. So it's pretty cool. Once again, nothing on this channel is investment advice, it's infotainment. You must do your own investment due diligence and all that good stuff. So pretty cool. Let's get into the chats here. We've got Julian says, do you guys own any metaverse lands? I purchased a land on Sandbox. When game is released, I'll have a lounge for Hex holders. So cool. Hey, that's pretty cool, Julian. No, I don't actually. I obviously familiar with a lot of that stuff, but no, I don't actually have any of that land. I should have bought. I could have bought some. What is it? Just thinking of the platform now. There was a platform that I could have picked up a nice piece of land, but I didn't at the time. Julian says, wow, that is huge news. Yeah, absolutely huge. This is what I'm talking about. So to get higher prices, you need to reduce the supply, and that's Richard's main thing. If you hear him talking, cut through all the other stuff, it's getting that circulating supply down. And of course, with these PulseSwap, it's perfectly timed. And as I point out in every daily vid, we've only got 2 big candles coming out, and 17th of December and the 1st of January. After that, we've only got whatever's in circulating supply and much smaller candles coming out. The next big one is in May. I think it's towards the end of May, and of course, there's not many of them. So what happens to the circulating supply? More of that will be sacrificed through PulseSwap, and of course, then other people will hold it for the copy, etc., etc. So circulating supply is really going to be limited, and then we're going to have massive buying. Is what I see. So if all these big whales come in as expected, then you're going to have massive buying, and then you're going to get Hex moving way up. Once Hex moves past $1, by the way, it becomes much more psychologically investable for bigger players. $1 is kind of a psychological mark there. And the other side of course, is that instead of Hex moving up by a couple of cents at the moment, as we do under $1, you could see Hex moving 20, 30 cents at a time, 50 cents at a time, as opposed to what we do now. So things change around pretty fast when we get into that play. And of course, it is a pretty impressive thing to watch. And of course, PulseChain is going to be another. Imagine having that. Richard wants them all to be the top, peers. And of course, it's going to be pretty huge. Now, the other thing, of course, is that with Ethereum being, still gas fees have been a bit lower lately. I mean, I've seen it as low as 35 Gwei, but this is still quite high, 70, 80 a lot of the time. And that was really with the pullback in the price. And so we're going to see a lot of economic energy from Ethereum move over to PulseChain. You watch, and the way that Richard's setting up the liquidity pools and is going to really not only support Ethereum in terms of reducing their volume, but actually take a lot of their customers, right? So that's pretty much what's going to happen. And of course, we'll see more and more projects come over to PulseChain because they have got sunk on Ethereum. The fees are just too high to do some of the functions that they've got, especially the S-load functions where they're doing loops and stuff. They have loop every day. Those are especially high. Anybody that's unstaking stakes, of course, knows that that can be quite high, especially on a high day. That's why if you see a day with 35, 40 Gwei on it, that's when you want to do your unstaking, right? As well. Now, E2.0 is going to come along, but a lot of people are skeptical about how that will actually deliver lower fees. So it's still optimism. We still have optimism around it, but it's still somewhat skeptical. And of course, that's going to be quite a big fork when it happens as well, as ETH 1.0 docks into ETH 2.0, etc. So still some time away for that. And of course, I think PulseChain is the perfect solution. It is layer 1. It is Ethereum code. And of course, it's going to be the biggest airdrop in history, the biggest yield farming history. It's mind blown. I'm with Richard on his tweet, man. Richard's tweet's on the money there. So pretty cool. And who knows what other things that Richard's got up his sleeve around the gamification. It's going to be pretty exciting to see that play out as well. All right, so cool. Let's go back to the price. Yeah, the price is looking good, 18.1 cents. And what's the high so far? 18.28 is the high on the USDC pair here. Very nice. Rock Edison says, well, hiya, everybody, happy up and to the right. I love that. Up and to the right. Is it that up and to the right, dapping that way? Something like that. That is true. And Ideafile says, keep up the good work. This has become my place for updates. Hey, Ideafile, I appreciate that. And I do try to be concise and get you guys as many insights as I can as well. So pretty cool. Rock Edison says, no red hourly candles so far today. Yeah, well, I was expecting one a little bit at the stage. We will probably get a few. So don't be disheartened when we get that. But what we want to do is get over the support line, and that's what we want to get to. And of course, we can get up to that 19 cents, and I think it's looking pretty positive. Then we're up and away. Might have a little bit of side motion, but man, we can see back here that we can have many days of green candles. So back here we had one. How many candles there? So we had 6 days in a row of green candles. And of course, then we had a few little sideways. This is what I expect, that we have a big run up here, and then have a little bit of sideways. Probably not as long as this because we've got the sacrifice coming up faster than later. Like I said, 12 days to there and 16 days to the end of the year. So somewhere between 12 and 16 days. Once we get down to a week's timetable, that's not a lot of time. The only thing that would upset the apple cart is a Hex OG deciding to be to take their suboptimal profits. That'd be the only thing that I could see there. Otherwise, we've got a lot of demand coming in as well. And so I think in January, we're going to have some pretty massive buying going on, especially if Hex scale gets up in time and any of the other billionaire either companies or individuals start to buy in. So, but once PulseChain comes up, mate, it's feeding frenzy. You're going to see pumpamentals like you've probably not seen for a long time. It's going to be pretty epic because it's just going to be, you're not just got those playing, you've got all the retail investors competing as well. So that's going to be a pretty game on. It's going to be game on. And we saw that back here when we were on this run up here. We saw that that game on was on. So what's the next one going to be look like? $1.80, $2.30, something like that. It's pretty big pumpamental there. Defile says, keep up the good work. Stream has become, I think I read that one. Sorry about that. Mr. Hex says, up and to the right. Yes, sir. Love the channel. Hex Token. Hey, Mr. Hex, appreciate that. And yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, like, share, hit the bell, of course. And if you want to get some special live stream perks there, hit the join button. We've got PulseChain, Hexacins, and Richard Hart Club, which I think is pretty cool. And we've got, I think SKB is our first member in there. So I look forward to more members. You do get a lot of perks in the chat there as well. So pretty cool. All right, Jimmy, Bitcoin says broke 70 cents resistance. Woohoo! Yeah, absolutely. 70 cents was pretty important. And like I say, if we're about to hit the junction here, this is the main junction. I should put a nice circle. I don't know if I've got a nice circle here. Let's have a look here. So I don't know if that's going to look. Let's have a look here. So here's our circle. We smashed that, man. We smashed that, and it's up and away, which I'm pretty confident we're going to. So nice. And we could do that either today, even tomorrow. So pretty nice. We have had some pretty good candles. Here's a nice big green candle here. And how big was that? That was from 30 cents up to 40 cents. So that was like a 10-cent move, 33%. We could easily have one of those here. We could get quite a few of these as well because I don't even think the big money's even coming in yet as well. So looking at the volumes here, this is just on one pool though. We've got 4 pools on the DEX and so forth. Yeah, so if you've got us, we saw that we have also, in this downtrend, we also absorbed 2 major hacks, right? So we had the centralized exchange hack, which was like 6 to 8 million Hex, I think that was. And of course, that got sold down. We also had, I think, number 6 biggest shark, which was an unfortunate incident. Get their SIM card hacked or something. And of course, their whole wallet got compromised. I'm not actually, I did monitor at the beginning. I'm not sure whether or how much they may have sold or not sold for that particular wallet, but I do have that on my history book, so I might go back and check that. So we did absorb those 2, as well as some HexOGs in there as well. So the market continues on, 18.2 cents. Yes, nice. I've got to celebrate again. There's another celebration. You got to celebrate while you're celebrating, right? Because we've been down at 12 cents. And of course, when we're down at 12 cents, people were talking about defending at 10 cents. So that's just the way we go on there. Nice. Hey, so welcome everybody. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and if you're watching this after the live stream, put some comments down there. I always respond to every comment that I get, and very cool. All right, so that's where we're trying to target at the moment. Let's go back down to the hourly scale and check that out. Let's get maybe scroll up my price chart. It looks a bit different from when I had it last time. We're going to scroll that up. So there we are. I'm not sure what I did to my price chart there. That looks a bit better. All right. Now we'll get rid of all the price charts there. And this yellow one is the rolling 200 moving average. So I do actually prefer exponential averages. So because they kind of weight the current periods over the older periods. But hey, look at that gorgeous chart. I could just stand there looking at that, right? So, or sit down as I am, but that's pretty cool. All right, nice. Ryan says, Ryan, hey, good to see you, Ryan. Here we go, says Ryan. Nice. I do see Ryan's comments in the over the last videos as well. And hey, we're heading up towards 1,500 subs on this channel, and I do thank every single person that subscribed. And as in my respect, I do respond to every single comment that I get as well, since people take the time to subscribe. That is pretty cool. But here we are. Well, this has got to be the quote of the day, right? Richard Hart himself, 30 minutes ago. I love it. And it's hard not to feel too much FOMO, right? Because it is so exciting. The opportunity ahead of us is, and we're in the right place at the right time. And it's pretty exciting to be there. There's so many rubbish projects out in crypto that it's just going to fall flat, right? And here we are in the what I call the golden standard projects, and they're going to last the time. The other thing, of course, is Hex is related to what we now call Hart's law or reflexivity. That is that 85% is in USD denominated. It means more likely the underlying value is just the buyers and sellers within that market. Now, the only thing offsetting of that, of course, is that if the rest of the market plummets, that people, if they've still got good US dollar values, they decide to go and shop for some of the other cryptos. So that's the only other counter part to that idea. But pretty amazing. I don't think Ethereum or cryptocurrency in general understands how PulseChain.com is going to change everything. So Richard, as I did a video a little while back, maybe a month ago, I talked about Richard Hart wanting to have world domination of crypto. He wants it so that he is going to be the true Satoshi of a crypto and leave his name on the whole industry as the kingmaker. That's the way I see it, and so he is well on his way to doing that, and pretty impressive stuff there as well. It's going to blow everyone's minds. It's going to blow everyone's minds. I love that. And of course, PulseChain Sacrifice phase should be launched before the end of the year. Nice, and that's feeling the FOMO there. I do find entertaining a lot of his other stuff that he responds to, like the Elon Musk stuff and like that. And he responds to Elon Musk, why don't you come and get some Hex, Elon, because that's a much better idea for you, especially if you want to get these rocket ships up to Mars and stuff like that. So nice. Imagine that Hex on Mars. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe we'd do that. We should get a little fun going for Hexkins, Pulsakins, and PulseSwap people that get some sponsored flights, possibly to maybe not to Mars, because the chances of living and surviving not very high, but maybe to the moon or something. That might be fly around the moon. That would be pretty cool. I know that I think they're doing that this coming up. I think they're supposed to be doing a flight around the moon, a private flight through I think it was a Japanese billionaire that did that. So pretty cool. All right, here we are. The price is climbing. We're up to 18.25. We are still going, folks. It is super exciting as well. And let me have a look here. And just jump back up top here. I think I got way behind here. Robert says, what do you think Hex Sacrifice will give? Hex Sacrifice. Well, you're getting it PulseSwap. That's what you're talking about. Whatever PulseSwap will be, the final name. If that's an answer to your question there, Robert. Stephen Wright says, I love listening to you. I look forward to it every time I can catch your program. I do. Steve Wright, Santa Barbara, California. Oh, nice one there, Steve. I'll have to try and check that out. Is that on a YouTube? I'll have to check that out, Steve. I do appreciate that. Very nice. Ryan says, hey, thanks for your hard work. Great content as always. It's nice to catch you live. Hey, Ryan, it's a pleasure. And I will be doing a lot more live streams moving forward. So very cool. Business to M2K says, hey, Business to M2K. I see Business to M2K everywhere. I do run quite a few YouTube channels, and Business 2K has been on some of those. So nice to see Business 2K. Sorry I'm late, says Business M2K. Great to see you as well. And Rock Edison says, this is an awesome stream. It's been a while since I was able to catch you live. Happy. Hey, Rock Edison, your pleasure, and great to see you in the chat for sure. And Chris Marketing says, mate, are you Aussie or Brit? Neither actually, but that was pretty cool. And Richard Hart is Satoshi, says yeah, Richard Hart is Satoshi. That's true. So pretty cool. And SKB, our first Hex Token channel member, says Superman is a Kiwi. That's right. So I'm from New Zealand and I have a Kiwi accent. That's for sure. And Jessica Fisher says Vark.tech. I think you're trying to promote another channel there. So try not to do that, please, Jessica, because we're trying to keep it clean. It's all about PulseChain, Hex, and PulseSwap. And M2K says PulseSwapsicans. Yeah, I was trying to say that. I was actually trying to say that, business to M2K. PulseSwapsicans. Yeah. It's getting a little hard, that name, though. It's getting long. You want to keep it as short as possible, but that does kind of have a nice ring. And Fatal Fury is in the house. Hey, good to see you, Fatal Fury. Finally, some good price action. Yeah, better than 10 cents, Fatal Fury. I think it's talking about 10 cents. Was it Mr. Dolo says, fools don't want to miss nothing. That's right. So I'm sure we'll get a correction up here at some stage, but we want to get over that support level, up about that 19 cents or higher. We want to get up to there and then consolidate there for a little bit, and then we can move higher. You know how we have the zigzag up. You want to get a bit of calling in there, so pretty cool. Chris Mark says, "Are you Kiwi?" Yes, I am, and there we are. And a Kiwi, great to hear the Kiwi accent. Lots of Hexkins in the Naki. Says Finral. So Naki. I'm not sure what Naki is. Let me know what Naki is. I'm not quite sure that familiar with that term. Gotcha. So pleasant to listen in any market. Yeah, that's true. And Business MTK says, "Whoop whoop." Yeah, like that for sure. And Chris Mark says, "God mode is active." Here we go. Yeah, it is looking super good. Now, I don't even think the Hex God Whale is even playing at the moment. So we'll definitely watch that for sure. Now, if you're famous with the Hex Gold Whale, I think the Hex Gold was the one that moved the price originally back last year, and I think it was April. I think it was April that the price of Hex suddenly jumped, and well, the timing couldn't have been better there. Actually, it could have been 2 months earlier, but it was still pretty good at the time. So the Hex Gold Whale is definitely around, and revealed him or herself on Twitter as well with the Real God account, Real Hex God account. So pretty cool. Now it's estimated that that person has, I've heard, this is third-party information, but upwards of 2 billion in crypto assets, and we definitely know through their main account that they have, several hundred million, 300 to 400 million perhaps, but they have a lot of other accounts as well. So pretty nice to have a big anchoring whale like that around as well. But of course, we have Overwatch, Three Arrows, Kiyosaki's introduced to Hex now and all his billionaire friends. If you know, he obviously is walking around that world. And of course, we've got Hex Scale starting up with the Kinetics and Whales only, and I think Bana Crypto. And they're basically, the last updates were just that they were doing going through the documentation for the investment trusts, and just doing the legalese with their New York lawyers that they've got for that. And that's pretty much going to be, they're trying to launch that before the end of December. And of course, they want to get the cheaper price too. If the Hex price starts running away, they've got a higher entry level price to get into, which is even more bullish for everybody else. But of course, the upside for them is getting it cheaper for their investors, and they don't mind pushing the price up if they got in on the earlier side. So there is a race for the Hex Scale, and that's just the placeholder name at the moment, to get in there as quick as possible. So and like I say, they have $1 billion distribution network, and they have many of those financial advisors in there actually have the ability to make the calls on the investments for some of their actual investors that they have funding those things. So it's going to be fascinating to watch that over the late December, January period, and well into the future, because those things will run ongoing. Once they reach their private targets, they will then go public and potentially on NASDAQ, something like that, and then it opens it up for the masses to do the IRA investments. And IRA, I've got to be careful with the accents there, and also institutional investors as well, potentially. So pretty exciting stuff. Once again, also once Hex gets over $1, that's huge fundamentals. That opens up psychological levels for a lot of big money investors as well. And yeah, we look forward to that. So Hex is going to prove itself. PulseChain, of course, is going to be massive. The system state copy of Ethereum is just mind-boggling. The yield farming PulseSwap is also mind-boggling. And of course, we know that a lot of people in the crypto space love that yield farming aspect. So it's going to be pretty epic. And just the way that, if you think about the Origin wallet or Origin account on all of these things, on Hex, on PulseChain, and PulseSwap, is likely is that they play a kind of a monetary control mechanism, looks like the Federal Reserve. They control the money supply, the returns, through holding so much of the total supply, so they can stake or sell, move that around, not sell. They haven't sold, but they can do the stakes just like they do in Hex, and they've got stakes going out up to 10 years in the future. We just saw big ones just get pulled out in early December, where they were, in late November, where they were good accounted by John Wick, and so we've covered that in full. He spent $5,000 to good account those. Some people sort of talked about whether he should do that at the end of the 14-day period, but nevertheless, that's over 100. I think it was over 100,000 T-shares that were pulled out of the. I think the numbers there. Yeah, over 100,000 T-shares that were pulled out. So that makes more Hex for the rest of us stakers, is the way that went. So pretty cool. All right, nice. Let's get in here. And Finra says Taranaki. Taranaki. Yeah. Okay, I got that now. Nice one, Finra. Sorry about that. Taranaki bro says SKB. Even the SKB knows that. So nice one, SKB. And Tuss, go the Naki, go Taranaki. Yeah, that's true. Hey, we've got a lot of people from Taranaki from the looks of it. And Finra says, haha, let's go. Yeah. And Naki in the house. Taranaki in the house. All right, Taranaki's got a big, beautiful mountain on it, a snow-capped mountain. It's like a perfect cone, and it looks like the famous one, Japan, isn't it? They look like they're the same mountains, perfectly coned with the snow on them. Asphere says, hello, nice to put a face to the name. Hey, Asphere, a pleasure, great to be on the live stream too. And Finra says, awesome, just down the road. Yeah, just not too far, actually, probably a little way down the road there. Pretty nice. 18, almost 18.3 cents. Woohoo! Loving this pump, man. This pump is so good. Let us get over to, let me just double check the, how am I doing there? Nice. Go back to my studio. Looking good. All right, so let's see what time it is. Wrapping up. So we're going to wrap up in another 5 minutes. That's been an hour and a quarter. That's a pretty good first live stream. We're going to go through to my round the hour here, and so another 5 minutes of watching this beautiful price candle. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And of course, this price on is so good, and it's pretty much been going to what I said it was likely to go. I think the bottom was pretty much called right. Now you don't always get the calls right, but in this case, the calls have been pretty good. And we can pull this up, and you can see the call here at the bottom. We had this print ups going pretty good to that. This is our Goldilocks zone. We smashed that, and we're definitely heading upwards there, and probability moves strongly in our favor. And of course, we'll get back onto this upwards trend line. This on the linear scale, not the log scale, and we'll get back up on there. And that will be a beautiful thing. So all our support's getting back into the Goldilocks zone, and we're not far away at all. So it's going to be a pretty fun night the next 12 to 24 hours as we look to move across that as well. So pretty nice. And I'm just looking at the volume here. What do we got? The volume 7.41 million in the last day just on this pool. This is on the V3 pool. I noticed that V2 pool USDC got bigger, actually took over from V3. So that's interesting as well. Ryan says, I think we're in for an epic pump in 2022. Hey, Ryan, I think it's going to be mind-blowing. And so that's why, some people were talking about, I think $17 Hex or something like that. I definitely think that that's possible, well in excess of $10, especially if all these big players, as I've been mentioning, come into the space, because the economic energy, Richard manages, let's say Richard has set up pumpamentals in the way that circulating supply is ultimately limited, and of course through sacrifices, that's been a major thing. And if you think about the timing of those, they're perfect. They've been perfect. Even with the delays have kind of been perfect delays, and because once we've only got two big candles coming out, and then we've got the PulseSwap sacrifice at the end of that, and then that's it. And then of course people have decisions to make. They either stay on board, or they get their copy, or they restake. And of course, if they stay, man, they're staying for the time of the ride of their life, right? And of course, if people want to go, you want to get them out at lower prices. So this is the way you want to do it. But the pump mentals are so massive on the demand side and the supply side, so pretty epic. Mr. Dollar says Hex ETH Uniswap V1 looks great. It certainly does. Actually, that was something that stood out in the daily video as well. Chase Johnson says, I can't wait to see my haters tomorrow. I like that, Chase. Yeah, that's true. I think there's less and less haters as time goes on. You've got to remember that Hex is now over 2 years old. It really has had the staying power, and it's only getting better. It's only getting better, and people are starting to take it more serious, and big fish are starting to see it, and they see the logic of it, and it looks getting more profound. Because don't forget, even though we hit inflation in Hexes, that's what we're paid. We're paid inflation. That is deferred out into the future. We have a long staking period. Was it 5.9 years now? So that's 5.92, I think. That is deferred out into the future, the inflation. So we've got 3.69% inflation. That gets slightly lower. Like this, I think the argument for having the Origin wallet accounted at the end of 2 weeks, and as they came out, was just to lower the actual average inflation down slightly from 3.69%. So let's say this argument's sake though 3.69% is that that a lot of that stuff's deferred out to the staking class, right? And we've been enjoying what 39%, 38, 37, 39% returns lately, and of course a lot of that stuff's deferred out into the future, and of course the share price is going up and to the right. So you've got these moderating factors that require more economic energy to get those T shares. So over time you'd expect the Hex payout per T share to rise, but there'll be less T shares around. There'll be less T-shares around. That's why so many people talk about getting the share price now, because it's only going up to the right. And eventually the T-share will be worth 30,000, 40,000 to get one T-share. And of course, the only way of offsetting that is by getting the effective boost, 20% more per year. Up to what's 3,641 days. So you've got to get that for 10 years and then lock that in for the next 15 years. Obviously, it depends on how old you are, what your goals are. You've got to take that into account. And of course, you can always do staking ladders and have years and years and years. And of course, what a stake maturing year after year after year kind of thing, or whatever time frame that's suitable to you. You've got to fit it to your own personal circumstances. Now, the other thing, of course, is that oh, I forgot my train of thought there. How about that? Don't normally lose my train of thought, but there we are, lost it there. Crypto B04 says, just tuning in, finally see the face behind the voice. Hey, Crypto B04, a pleasure, great to see you, and welcome to the chat. Yeah, it's always fun to see people's faces when you've been talking without a face for so long. And Ryan says, I won't sell my EHEX personally. Prices will be volatile once Pulse launches, but Ethereum 2.0 will make EHEX more competitive, but maybe not until then. Yeah, I actually think I agree with you. I think EHEX will get bought up by a lot of whales. I actually think I'm kind of in the camp where maybe after 2 months we could see quite a close convergence between EHEX and PHEX. That's my view. Not initially. I think there'll be a lot of volatility, and of course with the super cheap, super fast fees on the Pulse chain, that may get priced up pretty quickly. Possibly could even overshoot EHEX, and then we could see a convergence in the price and at a higher level than when we started. So the sum of the parts end up bigger than the starting point. That's kind of where my view is on that. Christopher Brennan says, late to the chat, but do you think we should only sacrifice our Hex for PulseSwap? Well, the idea of that is that it's a win-win. Now, you can sacrifice whatever you like for it, obviously. That most, pretty much, Richard's indicated that most likely all the tokens that were in the Pulse sacrifice will be, as I said, I did a video yesterday, I think, on beginners PulseSwap sacrifice for beginners, and of course we reviewed the PulseChain sacrifice. Is that by doing Hex, more Hex gets off the market. So it's really up to you, because the more Hex goes into the origin account wallets, whatever they are on each chain, they haven't been sold. So that they're just pretty much, we could consider them off the market. And of course that means smaller circulating supply, and that's what I talked about. That's the key thing about riches, is getting a circulating supply down is the key, and that way you can have the big price ramp up, so you can get the 10,000x, the million X. So it is a win-win, but then some people like to speculate on the short term, and of course hold the EHEX. A lot of people do find it harder to get rid of the EHEX, but then a lot of new investors probably be happy to get the EHEX sacrifice for PulseSwap, and then, like I say, you've got two opportunities. Then you can either keep it in the PulseSwap, or then you can switch it over for Pulse. So see how you go. But a lot of people are, quite a few people are calling for the PulseSwap to be a slightly better return in the X's in the short term, but in the medium long term, that Pulse probably better X's in that way. So it could possibly switch those strategies. Once again, everyone's got to place their bets and see how that weighs. But ultimately, every Hex that's sacrificed through the Pulse chain sacrifice and the current sacrifice gets rid of a lot of that Hex and circulating supply, and that makes the price fundamentals even bigger, especially with so many big potential new investors coming into the space. You can see how that just demand is greater than supply. Supply shrinks, and of course the only supply coming out is from the staker class, because the staker class is getting all the inflation. So cool. Ryan Gowan says new users will probably only use a PHEX, however, no matter what. Ryan, I think you're quite right there. I think that's probably be a bit of a shift as well. But I consider that a lot of the big buyers will probably still be buying a lot of EHEX. Is my thoughts there, Ryan. Charles Jones says, can we catch great deals before price discovery? Yes, you can. Yeah, for sure. Rob Frost says it might be possible, says Rob. And Christopher Brennan says, that's what I was hoping to hear. Absolutely, no problem. All right, so you can see how it's the win-win, but a lot of people do like to play for the Hex, as I said there, Christopher. All right, very cool. So I think I've just gone over slightly. Let's see what the price is at the moment. I'll get rid of my my little Goldilocks zone there. We're at 18.1 cents. Let's watch that. I'm going to try and do regular live streams, may even get up to doing once a day. So we'll probably do general price and chat and a few other things in the hour thing. So let me know in the comment section what you'd like to see in the live streams as well. Particularly something maybe I've touched in previous videos that you'd like to hear more about. I will try and bring those topics in as well. But this is the first live stream, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Man, what a best time to have it, right? The price is absolutely killing it. And I'm going to finish on the hourly chart there because that is so cool. And let's pull up the old chart there. It's a perfect place to finish there. Hey, we've got our first little red candle in there. First little red. I did say that we'd probably get a little red at this stage. We had quite a nice run up there. If you look at these other ones, we have a run up there, and then we get a little bit of red there. But like I say, hopefully we'll move a bit sideways and then get over that 19 cents. That's the real key point. As you can see, the 19 cents is over here, and we get past these and onwards and upwards. All right, very cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. And Albert says, congrats on your first live stream. Your normal videos are great, short and to the point. Yeah, so those are going to be they'll be the staple bread and butter of this channel. And of course, I'll do live streams. The live streams probably be 6 to 10 hours apart from my daily vids. And of course, I'd like to do special topic videos as well around Hex and PulseChain as well. Ryan says, great live stream. Appreciate that. And Ace Aspire says, keep up the great work. We'll do. Hey, everybody. Thanks very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And, of course, if you want to become a member of this channel, it is now open. We've got PulseChains, Hexicans, and the Richard Hart Club. And, of course, SKB is the first Hex Token channel member. Very cool. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye for now. And Rob says, thank you for the update and your time. I most appreciate it, Rob. And have fun out there. This is the time of our lives coming up over the next couple of months in particular, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. All right, see ya. And Mr. Elo says, great work. A pleasure. Take care now. Bye for now. See ya.